Wow, what a week this has been. Elon Musk is just burning it up. They're after him. They're attacking him. Bill Gates and him are even in a battle because Bill Gates is trying to short the company in terms of stock. Elon is firing back, man. The guy's on fire. And he just went where he never should have gone. As far as they're concerned, he went and said, whatever happened to the Epstein list? Whatever happened to that trial? Wasn't there a list of your people that were involved with him and his crimes? How come that list has never been made public, Department of Justice? What are you hiding? Woo! He went there. The Western Conservative Summit also has an interesting poll. Would you like to know what the latest is in terms of conservatives and DeSantis and Trump? You'll be surprised. Looks like DeSantis is actually becoming a favorite in some parts of the country. We're going to analyze that and much more in this broadcast. So much to cover today, so much happening, and you don't want to miss a moment of this because we're going to give you some incisive, penetrating analysis on stories that have been out there in the news but we haven't been listening to. And as usual, I've got Mercedes over here to my left to fact check and to add commentary. We got Carl over there to fact check and argue with me for arbitrary reasons. And then Jonathan, who is going to be a peacekeeper over there when Carl gets out of control. It's the team is ready for you. What Carl? You give me that.
You're coming in so hot right now. What are you talking about? Arbitrary reasons arguing with you?
I know. I'm just getting myself in state for the broadcast because the last broadcast, evidently, I came a little hot on the getter. So we're going to just tap the hate brakes there, Fox and friends. All right, now we're gonna try to come a little bit more moderately.
All right.
You know what really burns me up? I'm serious. I got to go there. This narrative that America's such a violent country, America's a violent country, America's a violent. What are you going to do with the gun violence? The Democrats, typical, this little group right here. This group that's like, ooh, this is the clown card trying to destroy America. Oh, can we get food crises? Ooh, energy crises. Ooh, maybe open the borders. 18,000 people come. Ooh, let's go to a nuclear war with Russia. Well, you know what really bothers me? Is this theory that America is the most violent country in the world. So you got these great oracles of truth like The Onion, whose homepage, every headline for the last 2 weeks has been, "No way to prevent this," says the only nation where this regularly happens. And then they have pictures of violence and shooting. I want to blow that myth up, and I'm going to do it right now.
Oh, American.
And I'm going to give you guys some quotes because it's not just here. We just had 50 Christians were just killed in Nigeria. 50 Christians killed by terrorists that went in with bombs and guns, mingling in with worshipers. Now, would you say that that kind of matches what you're looking at in America? Well, let me give you some data. The U.S. is well below the world average in terms of the number of mass public shootings. Did you know that? The global increase over time has been much bigger than the United States of America. Over the 20 years from 1998 to 2017, our list, you say what list? This is John Lott with the Crime Prevention Research Center reporting the data. Trust the science, liberals. From 1998 to 2017 with 2,772 attacks and at least 5,764 shooters outside the United States. It was 62 attacks that happened inside the United States. By our count, the U.S. makes up less than 1.13% of the mass public shooters and only 2.19% of attacks. All these are much less than the U.S.'s 4.6% share of the world population. Attacks in the United States are not only less frequent than other countries, but are also much less deadly on average. Out of the 101 countries where we have identified mass public shootings occurring, the United States ranks 66th in per capita frequency of these attacks and 56th in the murder rate. Not only have these attacks been much more common outside the U.S.'s share of these attacks has declined over time. Now, if you want to shrink this into a greater data analysis, where the attacks are the most common, where the shootings are the most typical, are in Democrat densely populated cities where they run the police department, or should I say, they run down the police department, and their Soros-funded DAs don't punish crime. So when you hear that often repeated, assumed, why is America so violent? Remember, we are not more violent than the drug cartel nation to our south or the blow-em-up Islamic nations in the Middle East and in Africa. So, and surprisingly, among the nations where these incidents have happened, has included the Czech Republic, Belgium, Finland, Switzerland, Slovakia, Albania, Macedonia, France, Serbia, and Norway. They're all having a higher per capita incidence than us. So when you're listening to the left obsess over this, you have to ask yourself, is this the same government that just approved $42 billion worth of weaponry, drones, and AK-47s, and long-range missiles to be turned over to the hands of the struggling citizens of the nation of Ukraine dealing with tyranny from Russia? Well, that's the whole point. The guns in America aren't more prolifically used in any other country, but when they are in the possession of law-abiding American citizens, they are for the same purpose that we are now funding the protection of Ukraine in order that citizens can protect themselves from tyranny. Well, that concludes my opening monologue. I gave you the facts, I gave you the science. Share that with your friends. Bring it up at a dinner party. Make sure you bring it up at the family picnic. All kinds of places. And by the way, you can also bring up the food crisis that's going on while you're sitting there discussing the price of hamburger and various other entities. I'm here to tell you that the headlines are all saying the same thing. Food chain crisis, and then the 50% of the world's wheat is coming out of Ukraine, and Russia's kind of blocked it up at the ports. And so here we've got this story about the food crisis, but I'm going to put up for I'll give it to my team here for the post-production. They can put this list up. 95 incidents of what can only look to me like domestic terrorism from the left. Somebody is burning down meat processing, food processing, egg processing, plants all over the country. When you see the list, I was so shocked last night. 95, in the last 2 years, 95 arsons have happened where food is being manufactured in the United States. I don't know why this isn't a big story. I expect Tim Pool to bring it up. Come on, Tim, cover it. Dig in on this thing. What's going on? Nobody else is talking about this stuff.
Was this like a meme sent to you, or was
No, I demanded a data sheet. I wanted to have all 95 incidents, the date, what the damage was done, and the location.
And you got that.
And I got it. We're going to put it up on the screen for you. Oh boy, you're going to see it. This is data day. This is big data Lance day. We're not talking about pie in the sky, tinfoil hat stuff. We're talking about the real substance of what's happening. And I say it's prophetically all connected. And but when it comes to the food situation, I don't know why more of my people don't take advantage of what we're doing, which is I refuse. Once we had a power outage here that took place, and it was a weird thing. We had a winter storm, and the electric grid went down, the power grid. And so the Sparks family was over at my house overnight because their pipes were frozen. And it was kind of like we had to do candles, and I'm playing with, games with the family there on the floor, and, with Liberty, and we're sitting around, and every once in a while the power would come back on. We'd all race to go get phones charged and heat something up, cook something that could be warm. And it was really a wake-up call. That's the reason why I went to a 3-month supply from the Patriot food supply people. Go to lancewallnau.com/Patriot. Get at least a 4-week supply or a 3-month supply. Don't wait until the headlines start screaming at you, store shelves are, empty. There's food riots breaking out. Get your food supply now. 4 weeks. It's worth the investment. People say, but it costs like a couple $100. What costs a couple of dollars to eat for 4 weeks? But you can get this stuff, and the best part of it is you don't have to refrigerate it. I'm not going to talk about why that's important to me, except that I had a refrigerator go out. It went out. I came into the office today, and both the garage doors are open. And I closed the garage doors, and right away, the team comes out, leave the garage doors open because it stinks in the garage. Why? Because all of Lance's meat that Lance had in there I had gone out, and I know I'm going to get some hate mail for this, but I'm not a hunter. But I went out, some hunters took me out. I wanted to be a manly man, and so I went out on this hunting expedition. And I was out there in the wilderness, people. I'm telling you, the wilderness was cold. I'm in the mountains of Colorado. And I was praying, oh God, give me one elk. Because nobody, all these experienced hunters, no one could find anything. I prayed. I'm not even a hunter. And there was an elk on the horizon. And from, like, there was like I'm thinking it must have been like 400 feet away. Boom. I was able to take the elk down. And of course, I let Annabelle know, we're bringing the meat home, honey. The hunter has achieved his purpose. And so the meat was all set. I'm talking $1,000 worth of elk meat. I'm going through elk recipes all night, every elk chili, elk burgers. I mean, I'm reading all about it. It all went because of a lightning strike that knocked out the refrigerator. That's why it was stinking in the garage, and the garage doors are open. Now, I know it sounds like I'm having a cathartic meltdown, but I have to talk to you about it.
This is such an embellished story. Everything about this story is so embellished. If people knew you, you're a storyteller. And so it's got some embellishment in it. I mean, the 300, 400 feet away, you shot it with one shot.
I did. It's a fact.
That's very far, my friend.
It was.
I think it was
It was like David and Goliath. Feet. It was. Don't rob me of the great answer to prayer. I prayed for the elk because I was frozen. I didn't want to be out. These hunters are out at 5 a.m. They're fanatics about this. Me, I wanted to be back at the old elk lodge, sipping my coffee and talking.
Well, let's remember, it is written, He gives and He takes away.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed be the name of the Lord.
There it is.
All right. My whole point is this. The Patriot food supply is not dependent on the refrigerator. Mm-hmm. You will never go through the trauma that I've gone through. And it was 300 to 400 feet because the guy had a little scope. He had a scope. He could measure it. He said, wow, that's pretty amazing. Lance, first time? First time. I was a manly man. Anyway, LanceWallnau.com/Patriot. Get your 3-month supply, get your 4-week supply, and you don't have to refrigerate it.
I just want to chime in here, not about the embellished story, which is kind of like a fishing story. Each time the fish keeps getting bigger and bigger. But it wasn't impressive. It was very impressive when you came back with an elk. The thing I wanted to talk about, though, is with this food supply, because to your point, it's, like we got a special deal going on the 4-week food supply is $247. Now, I understand some people are like, that's sticker shock. But do you know what you spend at the grocery store every week for your normal family? It's like, at least if you got 4 of these and you're a family of 4, think about that. That's 1 week worth of food that you've got saved up. Maybe this is something you get 1 per month so that you build up, if you're a family of 4, to a month-long food supply. But it is really crucial to be prepared. I mean, that is the word God gave me really before Corona started to happen. That's when I decided to invest in a food supply for my family of 4. Because you just don't know what's going to happen. And, you just work your way up. You build up as you go. You pick something up maybe every couple of weeks, But it is the thing to get. And it's good for 20 years. So for between now and Armageddon, according to when Lance says Lord's coming back and he returns, you should be set.
It's coming back faster with these people in office. If these people are in office, it's coming back. That's your Fauci and Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren, Obama, Biden people.
Is it possible that God wants these, I'll keep it PG and say fools, in office in order to bring about the end times?
We'll deal with that question, Carl, in another segment.
All right.
Although I will say this, it is a biblical fact that when God is judging a nation, he gives them bad leaders. In the Old Testament, when God was judging his people, he gave them leaders that were such that they became the disciplinary agents that caused his people to repent so that he could remove them and put in good leaders. So there is, as my son often does, provokes me to a moment of insight. This is true. You're right. God does give us bad leaders to create the pain that would cause us to repent. I pray that we're all repenting.
It's just like such a backhanded compliment to Carl. I think it's funny. Everybody doesn't understand. We love everybody here, but it's just funny.
I don't know what a palm up compliment is. I've only ever gotten back once.
No, I'm saying it's. At first, I thought it was not. I didn't think it was a very. I thought it was a legitimate point, and I thought about it as often happens when we talk. And go, have you seen that little video clip of Elon Musk? It's like around 3 minutes. It's 2 minutes, where he's doing an interview with reporters, and they're saying, so how is this thing powered? And he said, well, because we're using the hot air in the water system in order to do the first launch. And they said, well, why wouldn't you do that for the second one? And he goes, well, because, and it's a fascinating NLP moment, neuralistic programming. He looks to his left, which means he's processing what he just heard. He looked at his eye level to hear it. He thought, and he goes, well, yeah. Well, okay, that's something to think about. And he ended up redesigning his whole system to accommodate the insight of a question. That's what I love about Elon. And speaking about Elon, he's challenging Twitter. He's saying to them that he might not do the $43 billion deal, which would be, I want him to do this so badly. But he's saying he might not do it. He might not do it because their data is so fake in terms of the fake accounts they've got, that he thinks he's buying rubbish. And unless they can prove to him the legitimacy of their database, he's paying on the assumption he's actually getting traffic. But what if the traffic is fake? What if the left has totally taken over Twitter and created all kinds of bot traffic that supports their elitist leftist propositions while policing and silencing their critics? That's what's coming up. The other thing that Elon did recently, which is a real wild story. Elon Musk wonders why the Department of Justice hasn't leaked Epstein's client lists. The media doesn't care.
There we go.
But Elon is saying, hey, let me ask you a question. All those clients, those high-level people that were with Maxwell, that chick that was his escort facilitator for all these things, how come we never got the list as to who those people were? Does it surprise anyone that Comey's daughter was in charge of the prosecution and that she made the deal with the high-level corrupt FBI that the names on that list would never be part of the exploration? That the Comey family, once again, is protecting the elites that are guilty. So this is, anyway, thank the Lord. Musk is out there, and he's challenging them. How come we never got those names? Because they're trying to link him with Epstein. Because this Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, photobombs and shows up at a picture with Elon at some gala. And they're using that as evidence that he's hanging out with Epstein. He says, all right, you want to go there? He's like Trump. He says, let's go there. She photobombed. You won't find pictures of me hanging out with her. She popped in on a picture that was being taken of me. But how about you guys? Why didn't the Department of Justice release the name? This guy is tweaking them. Ooh, I love it. You get him. That's evidence of the awakening. You say, where's the evidence of the awakening? It's there. It's politically happening with Trump. It's organizing itself around DeSantis. The other news is so fascinating is DeSantis beats Trump in another 2024 straw poll. Well, that's interesting. The attendees at the Western Conservative Summit in Colorado. You know, I know these guys, and I wonder why they never asked me to speak there. I know some of them. And do you think that, are they anti-Semitic? Do you think?
Oh my gosh.
No, of course not. They can only be 20% anti-Semitic. I'm only 20% Jewish. All right, so DeSantis comes out on top with 74% of the votes. Trump got 71%. Ted Cruz came in at 43%. Mike Pompeo at 39%. Tim Scott of South Carolina, 36%. But what it means is that DeSantis is in the running with Donald Trump. Now, listen, you and I all know, we have our friends that talk. Don't you have this conversation ever? You know, I really love Trump. I really love him. And if he ran again, I'd vote for him. But I wish he wouldn't. I wish that he'd let DeSantis run. Why are they saying that? Because Trump is kind of like the crucifix in The Exorcist. You put his name up and all the demons start spinning their heads and spitting out green pea soup. The left goes crazy at the sight and sound of Donald Trump. And if you're listening to me now...
Oh, Don, you're a little controversial. You're talking about illegal immigration. I said it's illegal.
That was just a trigger. some of my trolls. Anyway, I want you to catch this. The other top 5 issues. What do you think the top 5 were, team? I'm going to give them to you, and then we're going to go around. I'm going to ask you. Immigration and border security, 1 category. Gun rights, 2. Religious freedom, 3. Federal budget and the deficit, 4. Or election integrity, 5. I'll let you all go for what do you think was the number 1 issue?
The number 1 issue, where was this meeting?
At the Colorado, at the Western Conservative Summit, where they did a straw poll and picked DeSantis over Trump as their top pick, but not by much, by 74% to 71%. So was it religious freedom, the economy, gun rights, election integrity, or the border?
My guess would be gun rights in light of Uvalde.
Gun rights, okay. Jonathan?
I'm going with the border.
Go with the border?
Yeah.
Mercedes Sparks?
It's either going to be election integrity or the economy.
Okay.
I
I'm
also
going
feel
with
like it's a
election
trick question.
integrity is probably.
Got a little split answer.
I think it's a misdirected question. I think none of those 5 were the thing that they were.
No, Carl. You
focused
see,
on.
this is your distrustful nature with your father.
How did I get this way, Dad?
I would not do that to you guys. But
it was number 6.
the top 5 were immigration and border security, 82%. Jonathan,
Nice.
once again showing us why you nailed the LSATs.
Yes.
Wow.
82% on the border. This was in Colorado. Election integrity, 79%. Religious freedom, 75%. Federal budget deficit, 74%. Gun rights, 74%. We had a tie. So really, religious freedom, the budget, and gun rights were all tied at 75%. But it was the border invasion and election integrity.
That's really surprising to me. I'm really surprised that the border came out first. Slightly alarming as well when you're looking around at the economy and you're thinking, you know what the real problem is right now? Illegals.
The border.
It's like, I could at least work. I could do something with illegals at some point. Figure out how to make them tax-paying citizens, like if I was problem solving. But the rampant spending and the devaluation of the dollar that's coming like a freight train, I'd be like, that's really surprising to me that people put that.
Jonathan, I see that hand.
Yeah, I just think in part it's not necessarily all. At least for me, the way that I think about it is it's not necessarily because of the illegal immigration itself, but more of all of the added things to that. In
Secondary,
particular, with fentanyl, the amount of fentanyl that's coming across the border and killing so many people throughout the nation. I think that's maybe people aren't talking about it as much, but I do think that I know a lot of people that are very concerned about that. I know a lot of families and stuff that are having very hard conversations with their kids because it is, even in the last 5 years, it has become so much more dangerous than it has been.
Yeah.
So you're thinking the illegals is really drug use, though. They're like lumping that together.
Yeah, I think just the open border, just in general, is kind of being lumped in together with that. So
Interesting.
At least that's why I gave my answer. So
Well, by the way, I think it's only fair to say that Donald Trump has come out ahead of DeSantis in many other surveys. So this is just one of the most recent ones. But I don't know that it is to his advantage to think about running. What would you guys think of a Trump-DeSantis ticket? I think it would be very strong, but it only consolidates the votes he's already got. If he's going up against Harris,
Oh God.
and he's going to need a female vice president candidate to kind
Tulsi.
of balance out the picture. And I don't know who there is. Chelsea Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi.
Yeah, it would
How
be
you
a
pronounce her
mixed
name again?
ticket.
It's like a T.
It's a T, not Chelsea.
Tulsi.
It's Tulsi.
Yeah, Tulsi.
Like
Yeah.
Tesla.
Sure, like Tesla.
Okay.
I think that if DeSantis and Gabbard ran together, that would be an amazing ticket, but it would be a ticket that we're not used to seeing because it would be split down the aisle.
Interesting.
Very
Well, we want to
interesting.
hear your comments. You guys go ahead and tell us what you think is a dream ticket. And think in terms of, the vice presidential pick is not the one that you picked that you're most compatible with. Trump picked Pence because the evangelicals were nervous about Trump. And so the Christian leaders made him put Pence on. But then Trump won the evangelicals, doesn't need Pence. He could have ditched him anyway.
I don't know if Trump's going to run again. I think people don't realize we still have a lot of time between now and that next election. So, and he's getting up there. He's getting up there in age. So it'd be really interesting to see what decision he makes.
Well, that's true. I mean, but there's no doubt about it. He's the kingmaker.
Mm-hmm,
He's the guy that you got to watch. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe we're out of time already. Time flies when you're having fun and when you're talking about these insights. So I want to encourage you again to go to the My Patriot. What's that?
It's
Where do they go?
LanceWallnau.com/Patriot.
LanceWallnau.com/Patriot. And join me. You don't need a refrigerator. That's the secret sauce right there. It'll stay fresh regardless of a power failure. Okay, see you again tomorrow.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world. See you tomorrow.